Knowing to push down for air and pull back for paint is one thing. But learning how to coordinate those movements correctly is what gives you ultimate control over a dual action airbrush. And in this video, I'll show you exactly how to operate the trigger so that you can start to develop that fundamental control that everything else in airbrushing is built on. So we press down to activate the air, pull back to introduce paint, move the trigger forward to stop the paint, and then release the trigger to stop the air. But before we start practicing, it helps to understand what you're actually controlling. We can actually see what's happening a little bit better with this airbrush because I cut it in half. So when I push the trigger up and down, I'm opening the air valve assembly inside the brush. You can actually see a little brass plunger moving as I push the trigger and release it. When it comes to pulling the trigger back to release paint, you can actually see the needle being retracted from the fluid nozzle at the front of the airbrush. So the more I pull the trigger back, the more the needle is retracted, which allows the airbrush to deliver more paint. Now, it's not necessary for you to understand all of the internal components to use an airbrush correctly. I just want you to see that pressing down on the trigger and then pulling back on the trigger are really controlling two different functions, and that's where the term dual action comes from. Down, back, forward, up. And as you practice, those shouldn't remain four separate things that you have to consciously think about every single time you airbrush. Eventually, they become one coordinated movement, and that's the goal. We're trying to develop muscle memory. Now remember what we talked about just a moment ago. Simply pulling the trigger back on your airbrush is not simply turning the paint on and off. The farther you pull the trigger back, the more paint the airbrush is capable of delivering. So if you start by pulling the airbrush trigger back a very slight amount, you'll get a specific amount of paint. But if I continue pulling the trigger back farther and farther, I get more paint delivered. This is where developing that control over the amount that you're pulling the trigger back becomes very important, because eventually you want to get to the point that you can introduce exactly the right amount of paint that you need without having to consciously think about how far you're actually moving the trigger with your finger. But don't worry about developing that level immediately. Right now, we're building the foundation. There's one other adjustment that I want to show you because it directly affects how the trigger feels when you move it back and forth. So inside your airbrush, behind the trigger, there's actually a spring. You can't see it in this cutaway because it's actually enclosed within this part, which is the spring guide. So the amount of tension on the trigger can be adjusted by changing how far in or out the spring guide tensioner is. Adjusting the spring guide outward changes the amount of resistance you feel as you're pulling the trigger backward on your airbrush. Now that adjustment is really a matter of personal preference, and if you are just starting out, there's absolutely nothing wrong with leaving it exactly where the manufacturer set it. But if you do want to experiment with the way the trigger feels, I recommend making small adjustments, maybe just 1 or 2 turns, and see if you can tell a difference or if you like it better that way or not. I wouldn't recommend making large adjustments, because if you reduce the spring tension too much, the trigger can start to feel pretty spongy as far as how easy it is to pull back, and there will be less force trying to push it back forward. You're also changing the amount of spring pressure that's actually pushing the fluid needle and seating it against the fluid nozzle. So you could at some point wind up with poorer performance from your airbrush if you go too far. So at this point, we need to practice putting all of this together, and we're going to keep this extremely simple. All I want you to do is airbrush lines on a simple sheet of paper. We're not worried about making perfectly straight lines. We're not trying to make every line exactly the same, and we're not trying to master line control at this point. The purpose of this exercise is simply to repeat the trigger sequence. Down, back, forward, up. At first, you're probably going to have to consciously think through each part of that sequence, and that's perfectly fine. That's normal. Again, we're not trying to create anything specific here. You're simply trying to learn how to associate the movement of your finger as far as how far you're pulling the trigger back with the amount of paint that comes out of the airbrush while you're continuing to use the correct trigger sequence. And the more you repeat this sequence through practice, the less you will actually have to consciously be thinking about what you're doing. That's really the goal here. That's what we're after. We're trying to develop the muscle memory so that you no longer have to consciously tell yourself, turn on the air, turn on the paint, turn off the paint, turn off the air. It's about practicing those movements until they become automatic. Down, back, forward, up. Once you no longer have to consciously think about what your finger is doing, then you have the basic foundation that you need to start developing the other fundamental skills that will give you the ultimate control over your airbrush. But for now, keep it simple. Make some lines, concentrate on your trigger sequence, and repeat it until that movement starts becoming second nature. I'm Trevor with Wicked Art Studio. I will see you next time.